Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we're back.
Well,
In stereo.
I guess I could return too then.
Kind of shocked Rob. He was having a whole conversation over here.
Christi and I were just having this conversation about other classes and things like that. And
We
so-
do that We're Back thing just to let everybody know, because there's normally an entire show going on,
usually
on the break.
Joe's Corner over here.
Joe's Corner.
Which, by the way, it's not good etiquette.
Yeah, that's the bad etiquette corner.
Just thought I might point that out.
But it is interesting.
So anyway, well, we do have the wonderful Jodi Manfred today. She is with the Doug Erdy Group. Welcome back. This is her third time?
I'm a third timer.
Third
She's a
time.
three-timer.
Wow. That must
Yes.
mean we like you.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you
like
for
you
having
because
me
you
back.
are one of the best marketers out there, you get it. And you're not really in the business that long. How long have you been in the business now?
Just over a year.
And you're rocking it.
Thank
She
you.
is
You're rocking
kicking
it.
butt and taking
Like a
names,
hurricane.
let me tell you.
But you brought a lot of your skill sets from your marketing background and just applied it to real estate. And oh my gosh, it works everywhere, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
Shameless
absolutely.
King's
And I
music
think,
plug.
too, back on the subject that you guys started on this morning, on professionalism and proper etiquette. Excuse me, can't even say it.
That's a new term in the industry.
That's better than me. I can't do it.
But I think, aside of marketing as well, because I worked for a national ad agency for many years, and part of what I did was media buying, which is negotiation.
Go ahead and mention the name so Rob can send him an invoice.
Boy, that's right.
Well, Smith Lamar Advertising in Kansas City.
Cha-ching!
But the negotiations side of it, I'm really glad that you guys decided to talk about that this morning, because I think it's a misperception a lot of times in our industry. And when you talk about quick successes, I think that's, definitely a contributor, is having that professional background and understanding how to be a middleman, and keep emotions down, keep egos down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can
Well,
tell
negotiations never get unprofessional in real estate, so I don't really know.
I don't know what I'm
Where this
talking
could
about
go.
either, obviously, because it doesn't happen. You're right.
Well, the thing is you bring somebody an offer, and that listing agent will get you on the phone. Why'd you bring me this offer?
Right.
And all this, and it's like, don't be mad at Jodi. Be mad at the 29,999 other people who didn't bring you an offer.
Right.
They should just kindly, and of course, our licensing act requires us to submit all offers immediately and objectively. Mm-hmm. And they're putting all these little opinions and
That's right.
assumptions and things on this transaction, and then putting it back on you.
Well, and I think the middleman as a communicator is so important, because when that happens, then now you've got, kind of a cat fight going on between the two agents. And then when
what could
those
go wrong,
messages,
right?
oh my gosh. And then when you relay those messages back to your customers, who, by the way, are emotional because this is their personal home, or it's their, it's a large amount of money they're investing. So they've got, certain emotional ties and feelings involved. So that communication point is such an important piece, and making sure that, you stay that middleman. You stay professional. You're able to communicate effectively, not only with the agent, but in the case where your agent you're dealing with may drop the ball a little bit on that professionalism.
That's your job to pick it up.
That's
regardless.
right. That's
but,
right.
we're not really middlemen. We do represent one side,
Right.
but the thing is, you have to be very objective. What happens is they get agitated, and then they go get their clients agitated.
That's right.
And so then, again, they're thinking, and of course, there's often name calling is from the agent. Oh, that idiot agent brought me this offer, and it's like that. And it's like,
Right.
And all of a sudden, they've got this perception of this person on the other side whom they don't know, and I would consider that extremely bad etiquette. I mean, be professional. Don't add your own electricity to the transaction,
Absolutely.
and it will kill a negotiation. I'm sure millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars, have been lost because of bad negotiation, bad practices, getting too emotional. And again, like you're dealing with somebody's biggest asset and you're selling it, there's a lot of emotions happening out there. And,
Absolutely.
And
Well, and it's interesting because, to be honest, coming in, I didn't realize, the credentials of our other guest in here. And I think...
we only bring awesome guests on.
Well, I knew it would be awesome, but no, but I didn't realize that kind of course was out there. And I really think it's important, especially a lot of agents, they haven't worked in a professional atmosphere. They haven't worked in corporate offices, they haven't had that experience in the boardroom, with communicating effectively, emails, things of that sort. That class is tremendous for someone who doesn't have that background or even needs a refresher.
And okay, agents out there, don't take offense to this, but a lot of people have never been in a business environment.
Right.
They've been, and sometimes they've been a stay-at-home mom, or or just coming into the workforce and they're out of college, and they really don't have a background, and they really don't have a clue, and they're not getting that training in their offices.
Right. That's
They're
right.
getting training about maybe contracts and how to market yourself and things like that, but not how to behave.
That's right.
And the first thing you know, when you have a small child, as you know, you have a daughter, you have to discipline her at first. Mm-hmm. And I may still have to. I don't know, but it's the same thing. You have to teach them what is proper behavior.
Right. Right. And you don't have a corporate umbrella above your head to tell you, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
Well, hopefully at a certain stage in life, people will understand what's appropriate and not appropriate, but not necessarily true. Otherwise, we wouldn't need this course on
and what Jodi's saying, I think is absolutely true. I mean, I grew up in that corporate environment as well. That's sort of where I came from. I came from business re-engineering, process improvement, performance, functionality, et cetera. And so, a lot of times when you're
really long job.
Exactly. Trust me. It was a long one.
That's why he had to leave it, because he couldn't say it all without running out of breath.
Single thing right there, right?
Specialist.
Cost management improvement, target costing, affordability analysis. But, we have all these books. When you're in the corporate environment, you have all these books, and this is what you can and can't do, and what you do and not do, et cetera. But you don't have, in the real estate industry, we don't have that. Mm-mm. In the real estate industry, we're all our own business. So it's important to always make sure that we take advantage of the courses and education and refreshers that we can do and learn how to become better individuals in reference to how we communicate, in reference to how we act, how we react on things. I mean, I'll tell you a great story with Jodi. Jodi's first deal on the buyer side, I was actually the loan officer on it. And we had some struggles on it, by the way. I mean, Jodi was professional the whole way. And it was her first one. And we had a conversation about this last time. She's like, she goes, after that first one, she goes, I was going to throw you in the dumpster. She goes, it was. She goes, but then I started doing some other deals, realized, hey, guess what? You've always been professional. You walked it through. You explained the process.
Your T-shirt obviously shows your professionalism.
Exactly. The T-shirt shows the professionalism. While I don't know exactly, while at that time I didn't know this, I now realize that what we actually did was good. That we took care of the client, and it was a learning process. So sometimes also it's about, some things are going to happen in real estate, and it's a matter of working through those and understanding that as long as you're working with somebody who's professional. I've worked with Jodi a lot now, and I see her on the side. It's, we now understand each other. And so she understands what I'm doing. I understand what she's doing. And when you create that relationship, that professionalism sort of blossoms from there.
And you know what? I want to say something about you, Chris, because it's really impressive.
Not on air. This is a Christian station.
Well, so many times, though, as an agent, you have a buyer that comes to you and they don't know who they want to use.
Right.
Through the lending process. So they're asking us if we can recommend someone for them. Well, that reflects on us then, their experience. So if the lending process is bad, or if the processor is not responsive communication wise, and in that particular situation you were talking about, I actually had a client who, he wanted to beat you up.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So
I've had those days.
Yeah, So but it's different.
I want to beat Chris up. That is.
But it's different personalities. It's people from all walks of life that we're dealing with, and when emotions become so high and intense, you want to be sure that you've got somebody, on your whole sphere, your lender as well, that acts the way you do, that responds appropriately, that keeps everybody's emotions down. And that stays professional no matter what.
Or at least who is a good fighter.
Yeah. Here's how you picture yourself. You've got two pails of liquid. One of them's gasoline and one of them's water. And when there's a spark, which one do you want to throw on that spark?
Right.
Wine.
Yep.
That was not an option. But a good alternate.
No, but it is interesting because real estate is very fluid. It moves a lot. There's a lot of emotion that comes into things. I'll tell you this, Jodi. Obviously, I see, you and I do a lot of business together, but we also, professionally, we hang out, we do a lot of stuff. We all know that challenges exist. Challenges come along, whether it be a buyer's agent, a listing agent, et cetera, et cetera. You always handle it just, you take the pragmatic approach, which is, let's work through a plausible solution to get this happen.
Right.
To make this deal close, which is the benefit to either your buyer or your seller, depending on which side you're doing that, and that's always very important. It's very important to realize we're all out there striving for the same thing. Now, there are some people, and I tell everybody is, I think August 1st is going to take another big swath of people out of the industry, which I'm fine with, by the way. But but there are swath of people sometimes that that are not going to be worth working with. But there's a whole big group of people that if you get within the right community, you get within the right group, you form your right team, it can be a very, very fun time, and real estate can be very fun.
Right, absolutely. And the one other point I just want to make is, and back to what you said.
One other point.
Well, it's about respect, because listen, people want to deal with someone who treats them respectfully. So if you are being objective and you think that, choose your fight wisely in how you treat that person, regardless of what you're trying to accomplish, you keep that level of professionalism and respect, and you're going to get much better results and a much better response from that person than if you're insulting, or do anything that makes them feel belittled or that they just don't like working with you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times maybe the agent on the other side feels challenged. They really don't know what they're doing.
Right.
All of a sudden they get defensive. They'll say things like, well, I've been doing this for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
But you've been doing
I do way more business than you do.
Yeah,
really go look me up.
you've been doing it wrong for 20 years, that type of thing. So,
Jodi has a pretty amazing listing that we were talking about before the show. We have to make sure we give her a second to talk about that when we come back.
Absolutely.
Yes, she has an amazing listing. She has, what is it? It's a $2 million listing.
It's just under $2 million, yes.
That is correct. Coming up on the lake up in Kingwood. When we come back from a break in a minute, we're going to have you talk about how they can actually go online, review this video, and if they actually text you or email you
that's a pretty cool video,
a password,
yes,
you're actually going to be able to enlist them into a $100 giveaway.
Right. I'm doing
I'm going on about 6 times this afternoon.
Go for it. I'm doing a watch and win. So
you watch and win.
We have
45
views
I'm going to see if I can rig
Pack.
it. I'm going to just go out there and do it. Hey, I'm going to rig it. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk. I want to talk also and go in a little bit. You have been 1 year. You are a rock star in the business right now. What you've done, the amount of business that you're doing, your listings, your buyer side of things. I want to talk a little bit about how you took what you learned obviously on the corporate side and pushed that out there, and how that's really gone over well with your client base. But in the meantime, we have to pay for this show, so we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.